introduce topics so you can, whatever, you know.
Yeah. All right. So we're live. Hello, everybody. Well, not everybody's here yet, so let's just give it a second, I guess. And we will. Let me go on the brew, and I'll share that. Oh. So, what are your Christmas plans?
Very subtle, I think. We're pretty much staying home. Tomorrow evening, I'll probably go over to my twin brother's house, unless he's going to the midnight Christmas service. I guess they're having that in North Situate, Rhode Island, in which case I'll go there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but I'll see him at some point.
Yeah, that, what you call it? Rob has never been to midnight mass, so we were thinking about going. I'm not a very religious person, you know what I mean? Like I don't go to church on the reg. I just go for, like, you know, weddings and baptisms and christenings and stuff like that.
What did you call that?
I used to have a priest who used to.
Oh, I know what you said. I know.
Only show up when they were hatched, matched, and dispatched.
Hatched, matched, and dispatched. She likes that.
So
you're gonna tell Rob to go to midnight mass, or he's gonna lose you to me.
Yeah, so this is kind of like our little brew duo little Christmas party.
Definitely. And we have a special guest tonight.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So tell us all about like how you guys got where you're started and how you got with these guys, and
Let her explain it.
Because as he says, we're like a trio demonology, really, in a real sense. But she can explain why and how.
Well, I met Carl because I'm the president of my historical society in Johnston, Rhode Island. And
oh, cool.
He says speakers come in every month, and this guy came in from Slater Mill, and he was pretty interesting. And then we just, go up for coffee, start hanging out, start talking about ghosty things, and before you know it, we're Panorama Paranormal, doing our own investigations.
She came up with that name. Yep.
I used to see this other guy on Facebook, and I said, Carl, do you know him? What's the deal with this James? He's like, oh yeah, I knew him. Should really get together with him or something, go say hello. I said, let's go out for coffee. So the three of us went out for coffee one day and just kind of hit it off, and that's when they started speaking together, and I was like, hey, well, let me, they would put things on a calendar. I said, I'll keep a calendar for you, and I write them down and keep track of them. And I was looking, I'm like, hey, how about this one? Why don't you go to that show? And it just kind of developed that way.
Wow.
They're doing their thing, and we're doing our thing, but we still do all our things together somehow.
That sounds fun.
It is. See, it's kind of hard to rein them in sometimes.
Do you ever go with them to like events or maybe not cases, but events and stuff like that?
Yep. Yeah, they're close by.
And she consultates with us. She's been on phone calls with clients and stuff before. She's a historian, She has seen different perspectives throughout different histories in some form. So.
She's an excellent researcher. She'll get to the bones of things. She's involved in a cold case. And when I say, a murder case, an actual one, when I say cold case, I mean way out there. It's 1915. And it's a judge that was murdered in Johnston, Rhode Island. And she has done, I think they're going to start spray painting her house. And, leave it alone, leave it, forget it, because she's done so much research, or so much. The only caveat is, it's a cold case. They don't know who did it and probably never will. But she's got these fascinating subjects, these suspects that come up. And it's just, if you listen to the story, it's like, well, tell me more. And it's an actual murder case. And she's doing a study of that. She's like, oh, so much.
That's really cool. Like, all that is cool. Like, I think I'm going to start stalking Elise, because I think that's awesome. I think that's so cool. So how do you become a part of a historical society? Do you just walk in and say, hey, I'm like all into this, or?
Exactly. I used to drive by. I used to bring my kids to school. They took a bus on the other side of town. I drive by, and my younger one was 8, and he used to say, "Ma, I love that old house over there. I love that old house." And then one day they had a tour of historic houses in town. I said, "Guess what? We're going in that house." and we joined the Historical Society and never left.
Wow.
Just all
That's really
volunteers. It's not something that's sponsored by the town. It's just
right.
volunteers who got together in 1976 with the bicentennial, the whole national bicentennial thing. They organized this local group. We own one historic house built in 1825, and we have a museum.
So now, so a lot of the historical places, I mean, I find that they are kind of they aren't too, now maybe with yours is a little different because you're in the paranormal field as well, but I feel like, you know, when you walk into, a lot of times when we walk into the historical societies and say, hey, you know, we're in this paranormal group, it's like, ugh,
Yeah.
You know?
I would say we don't have that problem a lot around here.
Right.
Always somebody, even if it's not the president or the person you happen to contact first, that, you know, they're like, oh, you want to talk to Jim? He likes that kind of stuff. Being Rhode Island and so many older buildings around here, there's always somebody in every organization. You can always find that one person who will say, oh, yeah, you know, we've heard some stories, or they won't look at you like you have two heads.
Yeah, that's cool. Because I mean, honestly, like a lot of the paranormal people that do events and stuff like that could raise so much money for the historical places and the societies. And I think it's a shame that a lot of them are, you know, look at it like it's taboo, you know, and won't, you know, I know that there's been a couple of people that have tried to do historical paranormal events. To try to bring the two together, to, you know, try to, you know, open it up a little bit. But, you know, I think that has yet to make some strides.
Yeah.
You know, that connection, you know.
I don't know if you know Ken DaCosta from Rhode Island, but so Rhode Island, Ocean Paracon, and he has a group called Rise Up Paranormal. And he put it best. He's like, come for the ghosts, stay for the history.
Yeah, that's awesome. For sure. That's awesome. There's just somebody just saying hi. He's from Rhode Island.
Oh, hi. I've heard of Constantine yet.
Yeah, Constantine St. Michael. I had him on a couple weeks ago, actually.
You live in Rhode Island and we never met up with him?
Really?
That's too funny.
Yeah.
I'd like to know him better.
You what?
We'd like to know him better.
Yeah, apparently he works with like the local police and stuff like that, and you know, helps out that with stuff like that. So
yeah, the name rings a bell, to be sure.
Yeah.
But I'd like to get to know him. Yes, I would like to get to know him. If I could. We were singing earlier,
Singing time is over.
Yeah, we had a good sing out.
And dance out, yeah.
Dance out, singing and dancing we had here. Sure.
You didn't wait for us to go live to do that?
Start dancing right now.
I never know when we are live. I thought we're live now. Yes, we're live.
Oh wait, he said hit me up. He lives in PA now, but
I'm a little bit out of the way, yeah.
Yeah. But it sounds like he may, huh?
So whenever he's in town,
yeah.
hit us up.
So what have you guys been doing since the last time we chatted? What's been
planning for 2021? No.
About it.
No.
Yeah. What do you guys got coming up?
We will be at the Gardner, Massachusetts house, the Victorian man's, S.K. Pierce house. He had a furniture empire and he made his fortune there. And this is in Gardner, Massachusetts. It's known as it looks like the Addams family house.
Ooh.
It's very haunted. I've been there 3 times.
Yes, and we actually spoke there one time together a long freaking time ago.
Yeah, back before you were shaving.
Before I was shaving, I've always had the goat beard.
You're born with that.
I was born with it. I came out the womb with bald Indian hair.
Yeah, look, he has down. No, that's a beard starting there. Look at that. Look at that little baby with a beard. Look at it. Cute. Yeah. Yeah. Oh.
That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are certainly welcome to come. There were 6 tickets left. I mean, I don't think we'd turn you away even if there weren't, but 6 tickets left.
And when is that? When are you going to be there?
March 27th, which is a Saturday evening, next March 27th. And let's look it up online, S.K. Pierce House, also the Victorian Manse or Mansion.
And tickets are on Daemonologie.org.
Mm-hmm. So just look up our website, you'll be able to access tickets.
That's awesome. So for now that we have like a couple of people, I know I do this to you guys every time. You guys come on once a month, but just in case there's new people on, just quickly, just give a little synopsis of what you guys do and why everybody loves you so much.
Again, we are a demonologist trio. We are duo Daemonologie, but with the least makes it a trio. Our mission is to legitimize the field of demonology, take it out of the cobwebs of the Middle Ages and introduce it into the 21st century. It is spelled Daemonologie, Daemonologie. Now that's the parlance of King James, because demonology had its roots in the late 16th, early 17th century. It was forming, and it actually became something of science, although they didn't know as much about schizophrenia, bipolarism, multiple dissociative personality disorder,
identity disorder.
And they're well, these are terms that are recognized now, but that was a time when people stopped thinking that everything was demonic possession, that maybe there's something in the mind that does this. So it's evolved over these 4 centuries, and that's our mission, to make it an actual recognized, legitimate field of study and research.
And maybe and educate people, so they're not just everything on TV is this evil nasty thing.
Now, isn't it? If it's haunted, it's got to be a demon. If it's inconvenient, if it's scary, it's got to be a demon, because good God, scare people.
Right.
It's evolving.
Yeah. No. Absolutely. Somebody asked. I know the answer to this, but I'll let you guys answer it.
Carl and crew, if they are. Oh, please ask Carl and crew if they've been to the Conjuring House in Burrillville. I lived in Burrillville. Hello there.
Yes, he must not. Constantine must not know the story about Carl. Well, because Carl, Carl. So I will explain Carl's story. So Carl was actually Constantine. Carl was the first investigator in that house in 1973. He was the very first one with his brother Keith and case manager Donna of Pyro out of Rhode Island College. And so, yes, Carl has been to the Conjuring House. Elise, who's the historian, is still doing current historical work on the house and helping the current owners. And little old me, thanks to Carl, and of course, to the owners as well, Corey and Jen. I've been to the house multiple times as well. So yeah, we've Carl more so than the 3 of us, but we've all been to that house plenty of times. Experiences too, I think. At least.
Oh yes, we have all different levels of experiences there, and that was my first residential case, as James was saying, August and September 1973, and it was our team that invited in. Well, they kind of invited themselves, but we alerted Ed and Lorraine Warren to that situation, so it didn't come about exactly as you see portrayed in the movie. They became aware of that situation through us, and 40 years later, of course. Those true life events inspired the movie The Conjuring.
Right.
And in a nutshell, that's how we became involved with it. And we'll be going back there soon, I'm sure. I don't know if I'll be there before the end of this year, but certainly soon after we'll be there.
Yeah, I doubt I'll be there, but it's a great house.
So that was going to be my question, was because you hear mixed stuff from everybody that goes there. Some people will say they didn't feel anything. Some people will say, oh, it was, I got scratched and I got this and I got that, and then some people say, oh, it was just, whatever. So would you say that, I respect you guys in your opinion, you know what I mean? So, or, if you tell me, you had an experience, I believe you, you know what I mean? Because I know you guys and
by saying, what we experienced there.
All I'll say about that house, dude, run. No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Another thing you could say, did someone scratch me? Stop.
Yeah. It just said kill Zach. What does that mean?
In that episode of the of Ghost Adventures, it was called Haunted Farm in Harrisville. Then that's pretty much Zach's reaction to us, because Zach he seemed so taken over and influenced by that house.
Yeah.
It does happen to him a lot, but uniquely at that house, yeah. I think it's like a lot of haunted sites. Different people have different reactions, and they're more open or receptive to it. Some people are overwhelmed.
That's true.
But the house has become, it's built in 1736. And as James said, Elise has been doing expansive research on that house's background and uncovering some of the myths about the legend of the house. And I think different people will have different experiences because of their level of receptivity. If people come in with a bad attitude, like, oh, there's nothing here, or, you know, oh, who's murders in this house, they're might have an unfavorable experience. But the house is like a living organism. It's taken on a personality of its own. Some people it likes, some people it does not. If it doesn't like people, the house will spit them out. People get headachy, feel nauseous, just, fall down the stairs and, say, oh, I can't stay here anymore. There's something bad about this house. And I never feel that. James and I, Elise, we always feel kind of warm and welcome there.
That's interesting, because I believe that too. I think we've talked about this before. Like I can go to Gettysburg and like roll around in the field, and I just feel amazing. I love it there. But there are some people I know that can't go there because all they do is they feel the negative energy.
Oh, it hurts in here. It's attacking me. Oh no.
Well, that may be real to them at the time. Oh no.
There is a question. Is it true when you deal with one demon, you are dealing with all of them?
They do tend to side together. Yeah, I don't think you can take an active stance against a demonic personage or entity without inviting the wrath of the rest of them.
Well, that would suck, because there's technically supposed to be like 7 million demons. So
1/3 of the heavenly host, whatever that number is. Yeah,
I think it's like 7 million or something like that. So that would be scary. Can you imagine 7 million demons?
It's a scary thought. One of them is tough to contend with. And the late Ed Warren said something I always remembered. Ed said, once you challenge the demonic realm, you are forever marked by them. They'll always recognize you. This will always oppose you if you've taken a stance against them or even witnessed a demon. Then you're forever marked by them.
So, Elise, do you get worried about that? Like being, do you tend to see that like that's the side that you go towards, or are you more Casper?
I want to say I'm up for whatever happens to be there. I mean,
yeah,
I want to know exactly what's going on. I want to experience it. Not experience it as in, feel everything like some people say that they do, but be able to, see what's going on and judge it against what I've read about, what I've learned about, what we've talked about, and see if there's anything I can, read into it, whether, it's being caused by something that's not preternatural or something that, if it's just a heating vent or something like James likes to use for an excuse, an explanation all the time. But I'm open to any explanation. I'm just there to see what the facts are, what's going on, what people are saying that they're thinking and feeling, and try to help them out by figuring out what their problem is.
She's also called the party pooper sometimes. Because of her realism, she's a realist. I wouldn't say skeptic, because that's somewhat of we should all be a little skeptical, a little, and evaluate.
Sure.
When you say skeptic, you think somebody that thinks they're too smart to be fooled by this and just don't accept anything. But Elise evaluates. She takes a realistic, empiric view of what's going on. She's the one of like, the lights are dimming, like check that rheostat, look at that wiring. What happens if you touch it this way? Does it dim?
There's a light bulb up. That's why.
Yeah, she really does that. I mean, she's not out to ruin everything. She just watches and looks and observes. And she doesn't want to jump on everything and say it could be this, it could be that, but she sees it. Yeah. She has a very grounded approach to the paranormal, to paranormal research and investigation.
So is that what do you consider yourself a paranormal investigator? And then, or do you just, I don't know, do you have any, I don't have any, I say I don't have any, but I don't, I really don't know, but any, are you any clairaudient? Are you clairvoyant? Are you,
That's my interests lie, but I don't have any latent talents that, are just coming out. I'm learning a lot about it. But because I find it very, very interesting. I think people can do more than they believe they can do. And, so a poltergeist coming from, upset people throwing things around. Wow, I'd love to find out that was true and be able to harness that and put it to good use.
Sure.
Love to study parapsychology and all the issues within that. But
And she actually did, you know, the boast about her credentials. You know, she just took classes at the Ryan Institute, where her professor was Lloyd Albark, who we're actually going to have the show on the 6th. But she passed that class with flying colors, you know.
That's awesome.
Two-part class so far. She's going for a third course. And that, yeah. Lloyd Albark, he's a professor at the J.B. Ryan Institute. And it's a college-level course. It's comprehensive, you know, based on his things.
So what is the difference between parapsychology and psychology?
You take this?
Parapsychology deals with ESP, which is mind-to-mind communication, telekinesis, mind-to-object communication, and survival after death. Those are the three, generally the three areas that they look into. As opposed to psychology, which is, you know, more behavior-oriented. Your problems are being caused by, you know, some trauma you had when you were a child. And sometimes the line is blurred. You don't know what's really being caused by something and not by something else. And all you can do is watch, listen, learn, and try to compare it against what you know. Yeah.
And not to say that be mean about parapsychology, but also one is a little bit more respected than the other as well. But parapsychology should not be disrespected. It's a very intellectual science, and even though there hasn't been a lot of data collected from it, it's still very important. So it's very important.
It's hard to replicate in it's
like clinical environment.
That's why most scientists poop on it, because they a lot of their lab settings.
There are a lot of things, even of the mind. You cannot think of psychology as being an objective science or medicine, and you know, parapsychology is totally subjective, depending on hunches and, you know, your own feelings about things. But just because you can't recreate many of these results in a laboratory environment, you can't do that with psychology either, because you're dealing with individual psyches. So it's just because you can't analyze it and put it on a drawing board doesn't mean it is legitimate. I know there is such thing as parapsychological force, PK, psychic, you know, kinetic energy. I mean, I've seen a poltergeist in action. That's kind of how I define a demon, as a poltergeist with an attitude. You know? And to see a poltergeist, however you define it, in motion and action is just fascinating. It's frightening. It's different. But to see objects propelled about the room and hear strange moanings and see, like, my chair with me in it move back across the room, I've seen a poltergeist active, you know, and I know it's real. You can't stage that. It's you know, maybe I'm
well, what's your definition of a poltergeist? Because I always thought poltergeist was like either just a noisy spirit, or sometimes people would think that it was, you know, when they like a young girl going through puberty, and you know what I mean, would kind of.
Well, poltergeist violates all the rules it's supposed to follow. Standard definition or interpretation of a poltergeist is spirit activity or strange things that happen when there's an adolescent, like a 13-year-old boy or girl in the room, and they're going through some emotional trauma, some adjustment period, and then, you know, the lamp flies off the table and falls bang. It's not that simple, because a poltergeist acts with volition. It has an intelligence to a willfulness. Poltergeists sometimes have voices. They speak. They do things like, I've heard of poltergeist in New Hampshire. The family came home, and this poltergeist, this whatever it is, had taken bed sheets and wrapped them around, making human figurines, people sitting at a table. The bed sheets were around like mannequins sitting at a table, and they were just bed sheets. I know of a case personally where the family came home from church and they couldn't get in the door of their house, and the son, well, one of the sons opened a window and got in that way and found out that bookcases had been pushed up against the wall, the door, but the window had been closed, and there was a stack of religious books, like a stack like that. That's what a poltergeist can do. And you don't always see a human subject. Well, I think they're dependent on human interaction to some degree, but there's not always the 13-year-old boy or the 11-year-old girl. It doesn't always happen that way.
This is where I'll disagree. I think a poltergeist is fully PK activity. I think a poltergeist is a construct, regardless if it's a child, adolescence, it's a person that creates it. Because I think where we tend to forget is this is where people get misconcepted. Everybody put spirit and ghost in the same category. Spirit and a ghost are two totally different things. A ghost is a non-intelligent force, where, so to say, it's not like a person that was once living.
Right.
Totally. Like that intelligence is not there. Like a ghost is like a residual energy, or a ghost is something that's created by psychokinetic force, where this poltergeist, yes, it can gain an intelligence because as like an artificial intelligence that we can create through computer spectrums, those can gain the ability to compute at its own pace as well. So it's in the same formula where, see, I believe every poltergeist has some sort of connectivity to an individual.
That's the parapsychological explanation of PK is human activity. It's always a human agent.
Yeah. You have to have a battery, you know?
Well, I'll see your disagreement and I'll raise you a supposition. I'm going to put that into the pot.
But you do see people get spirit and ghost confused all the time.
Yeah, that is true. That's a misnomer.
They're not in unison. It's not the same thing.
So spirit. So you would say spirit has never been of this earth.
Well, spirit has been of this earth, and a ghost technically can have been, but
it's interpretive too. However you jumble the terms around. But poltergeists do things they're not supposed to be able to do. They think. They act as if they're thinking. Yes, there's a human agent upon which they're dependent. That human agent doesn't always have to be in the immediate proximity.
No, once it's created, yeah.
You were saying something?
Oh, no, I was just going to say, when you talk about a ghost, when you talk about a location being haunted by a ghost, it was a living person at one time, and what's going on was caused by a living person at that time, but it's just being played over and over. Like if you watch a movie with Elvis in it, you're watching Elvis, but you're watching Elvis as he was. It was recorded. And that's what a ghost is in a haunting.
Well, spirit is something that is now once living, but now is still active.
And we can even talk about a very noted case where a spirit was actually synthesized and created. Not easy to say synthesized when you got a mouthful of chat.
I can even say synthesized.
Well, you don't have a mouthful of Hershey.
Right. I'll try it. I'm sorry.
No.
Damaging my house.
Try saying parochial with a mouthful of rice.
I can say parochial.
Yeah, but you don't have a mouthful of rice.
Parochial.
Synthesized. Who's your Julia? Yeah.
All right, so
Serious people here.
So I never used. I felt like ghost was just a label. You know what I mean? Like something that society made up. Yeah. I've always thought it was just a label. Ghost. Like for me,
when you say ghost, you get a definite image of something real spooky. When you say demon, you get even more vivid.
Yeah. So let's talk about the difference of the actual movie Poltergeist. Let's say I know it's not that dramatic, right? But let's just say if it was true, right?
Perhaps.
Megan's on. I just want to say hi. She's one of my best friends, and she is prego and going to be giving birth soon. So, but anyway, so if we were to take, let's just take Poltergeist, right? The entity, and I don't know. Let's just start with those two first, right? Because the entity, she had all kinds of people coming in, and parapsychologists and psychiatrists and paranormal investigators trying to come in. First, she thought she was, and they all thought she was creating that. Right? They thought that at first, you know what I mean? But then like things happened that they couldn't explain and this and that. But can the mind really create something that like to yourself? Like if she hated herself so much, could she create something like that?
Yes, because there's a principle called projection, psychic projection, where somebody's inner trauma and unresolved conflicts are actually personified and projected, and they become the demon, or they become the ghost, and they may even accrue things that were out there already. The most famous case I can think of is the Philip experiment in 1972, Toronto Psychical Research Society, and an experiment was conducted where they conducted a seance, set up all the trappings of a seance, set out an offering, a candy dish, and they sat around the table and called to the spirit of Philip. Philip was a 16th century nobleman who took his own life, threw himself off of a tower. He had a very complex history. He had a mistress, and she was ruined, and she was actually executed for adultery and fornication. And he didn't step forward. He could have saved her. So with his guilt welled up in him, and he killed himself by jumping off a turret of his castle. And that's who the researchers were trying to summon. Interesting thing was, as elaborate as was his history, Philip was a concoction. They made up Philip. They had this whole construct. They synthesized his history, and they made him up. And then they had a seance for him. Well, not much happened. The first one, they got a little shaking of the table. The second seance, Philip started to produce a series of raps underneath the table, answering the researcher's question. Yeah, yes and no questions. And he would move his candy dish around. Philip was behaving like a real spirit. And that's fascinating to me, because they made this thing up and it's behaving like a spirit. And they demonstrated that on a talk show in Toronto. And at one point during the interview, they were demonstrating what Philip could do. One of the researchers said, "Oh, Philip, we just made you up anyway." Well, Philip stopped communicating. It took about, I think, 6 months for them to coax Philip back to where he started knocking again. This begs the question, did they totally create Philip, made him energy displacement, and it behaved as it was supposed to, as it was expected to? Did they inadvertently call in somebody that was, or some spirit that was similar in life to Philip, and it was just close enough that they actually called forth the spirit? Was it both? Does Philip still exist on some level? Could somebody hold a seance and readily call Philip back? You don't know, but it's just that they actually produce the spirit. It can be done.
But that's the problem, I think, with a lot of the historical places that you go to. And I mean, even some of the private homes. I mean, people get in their heads like, who's there, what's there, because these stories have been passed down. And, it's like they just automatically think that, even when I'll just, I'm not a fan of all the shows, but I'll just say, even on the shows, when they go to these places and they're interviewing the people that work there, or the people that, they're always like, well, we think it's Sarah who was here and her husband. And, so they walk around all day long and they're like, Sarah, stop that. Sarah, we hear you, so it's like all the time they're totally feeding into this, and I think, I don't, I mean, it could be anything or anybody, you know what I mean? Like it could be nothing. Like maybe it's just people are, so I'll use this example. If you think, like say your boyfriend's cheating on you, right? Every little thing that they do, you're going to think they're doing something, behind your back or cheating. Like every little thing. Like it could be something as simple as with your phone.
Yeah, wear that cologne, or what is this? He's texting a lot. Like, well, I don't remember him doing. I don't remember him.
But like you put it in your head. I mean, I know people. The mind is so powerful that I know somebody that somebody who convinced herself she was pregnant, had all the symptoms of being pregnant, never was pregnant. And then the opposite. I had somebody that went, a month overdue. She never even thought there was a possible chance of anything like that. And she's like, oh, I'm going to the hospital for a kidney stone, and a 7-pound baby girl pops out, and I'm like, Jesus, that was a big kidney stone.
That's true.
I mean, the mind's powerful.
That's why I find parapsychology so they study all these kinds of things. Like you mentioned before, with the movie The Entity, could your mind actually create something this bad? Yes, when the relief is that you've disassociated it from yourself, that now you can blame this thing for all your problems. It's not me anymore. It's this thing's haunting me. This thing's a demon. It's after me.
I remember I
had
to share that with a family in New York, in Brooklyn, New York. I mean, they had definite haunted happenings. Our team, it was TAPS, the Atlantic Paranormal Society. We were headed towards Brooklyn, and one of the ladies in the house told me that we were on our way, and she was to wear like a rosary as a necklace around her neck, and it got pulled off. Mysteriously just pulled. She had her arms on her side and just pulled off as we were approaching. All kinds of things were happening. They had disembodied voices, sounds, the whole kit and caboodle. And after interviewing these people and becoming more acquainted with them, I had to tell the homeowner, I said, you should realize that the paranormal, these manifestations, those are the symptoms. You know, I'd be surprised if you didn't have something. That's telling you something. It's your history, this horrendous history that you have that's fascinating and detrimental to you. You know?
Yeah, and then to get back on Lisa's parapsychology thing, and basically what we're kind of talking about, there's a thing called global consciousness that a lot of parapsychologists look into, and that's, or collective consciousness, a lot of people know it by, but yeah, if you have enough consciousnesses to perceive that something exists, then it exists. I definitely think, in my perspective, and this is my opinion, but a lot of the cases that I handle or have handled with Carl or handled by myself in the past, not looking back at it to where I've gotten in placement of knowledge, and of course a lot more to go. I have a lot more to learn, but I feel like a lot of people are the issues, not the issues so to say, but they're the reasonings that haunting is happening, either if it is created through them or they want it so badly that they call forth it. So I think a lot of the times it's the individual, and a lot of the times it's actually the human mind more than anything preternatural, unfortunately. And I just generally, if you look at neuroscience, and I know he says psychology is one step up above pseudoscience, but in the same token of it, there's a lot more that's been being understood about the mind that you can't denote that, you know, a lot of smart
But how does the family take that when you say, okay, listen, I really think this is something that needs to be handled professionally with, I mean, because at that point, the family's so convinced that there's something evil there or a spirit there, or, that there's something else causing this. I mean,
Well,
how do they take it? Not well.
no.
I wouldn't think so.
Well,
Right?
pulling the rug out from under it, and I will say we're not discounting what you're reporting. We're not saying this is all psychosomatic. Things are happening. We're documenting that, but I just want you to look at the source.
Well, yeah, because I also feel like there are some times where, if you have that idea, how do you know, you're not pulling that in?
Well,
if you're putting that all out there, how do you know you're not pulling something in?
I always do reverse psychology on these people, because as a person that if I really wanted help, I would take all the advice. I take everything that's been given to me and I'd work with it. So I play reverse psychology on a lot of these individuals that aren't willing to take the notion. Like, I feel if you're dealing with something traumatic, if it's not physical or mentally and it's spiritually, you should still go speak to somebody. Hell, I have a therapist, and the hardest cases I've ever had to do, I have had to sit across somebody in an office and talk to them about what I have encountered. And it might sound crazy to them, but it gives me the ability to get it off my chest, to kind of decipher, speak to somebody that is a medical professional. So when there's individuals that you suggest that they should go see a therapist, it's not really a suggestion. It's really, you should do it.
Right.
But of course, you can't tell people what to do. But in the same token, if they really want help, and they're sincere about it, they will listen to you and they will go receive that help. They will go see a therapist. And a lot of times when you see people that aren't willing to go do the therapist session or any of those extra steps, it's not all the time. So for people that are out there that aren't wanting to seek a therapist, but most of the time, there's a reasoning that they don't want to go see a therapist, and they know the reason. Like Carl and I have said it multiple times, and if not on this show, a lot of times we've dealt with people that have dealt with demonic possession. There was trauma, apparent trauma that was there. And until that trauma was kind of figured out and dissected and understood, then the whole puzzle wasn't put together into that moment.
It's easy to deal with something, like I said, something's after me, then, I was abused as a child. That's hard to deal with, and you don't even know.
I put it in the forefront. You've got persons coming, you've got professionals, investigators coming into the house. It's very dramatic. It takes the focus away from the inner turmoil. It gives them some, some fun, actually. Like, this is all very dramatic. You got the ghost hunters coming in here, and they're setting up their cameras and equipment, and Wow, what an interesting house this is.
So I guess I wouldn't say easy, but I guess it, for doing it for as long as you have, I guess, you're able to decipher the difference between, okay, this is something, more on the medical side as opposed to a manipulation, because, if somebody is being, if there's something really going on, obviously whatever's going on isn't going to want the person to get help. Right? I mean, they're going to want.
Well, there are red flags. Sorry, go ahead.
One of the easy ways to tell the difference is the person who says, "Oh yeah, we were playing with a Ouija board or having a seance or whatever, and I think we invited something dark in, but I don't want to get rid of all of them, just the dark one." Then you really can't do a lot for them. If this was that dark and that foreboding and that threatening, wouldn't you want to do anything you could?
Right.
Throw myself in the front stairs of the church if something was that bad, But they don't know. I still want to play around with this. Just get rid of the bad one for me.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
I always say, like, I would tell clients, like, if it's something medical, like I'd say, okay, I said, let's remove the paranormal side of everything, right? I say, let's just say you called me in to paint your house, and I go into a room and I see mold in the corner because you have a leak. I'm not going to paint until you get the mold fixed or you get the leak fixed. You have to fix that first, because all I'm going to do is I'm going to keep painting and it's just going to keep happening. It's going to keep coming back. You need to do this first before I can do this,
Analogy. But yeah, no, there's a lot of red flags that we've come accustomed to throughout our times of dealing with this. And that's why, the three of us use a questionnaire because in that, what the questionnaire does and what, of course, an interview process does is if you do a questionnaire, either if it's through email, usually it's through email, you do a questionnaire, you do a phone interview, and then you do an in-person interview. What you do is you're not trying to trip the person up, but you're trying to see if their story stays on the same spectrum and not stagnant. It doesn't change. And, so there's red flags that you can, one of them, of course, I think that I've been really on, and I know Carl has as well, and Elise has heard us talk about it, and Elise will even say the same thing, is one of the biggest signs is if they claim that they are possessed. It's the first thing. I'm possessed. That is one of the hugest red flags, because unfortunately, for people that really know people that are afflicted by acts of demonic possession, they actually really don't know what they're going through.
Right.
Usually it's an outside source, a family member that lives with them, or a friend that seeks the guidance from somebody, not the individual that's being afflicted.
Right. Absolutely. I want to go back, because some people were saying something. So talking about like the ghosts and the spirit. So somebody said somebody thinks or believes ghosts are remaining ego struggles of the peoples whose bodies have ceased to function.
In premise, yeah. I wondered that. Premise, that some of the junk that stays behind, the unresolved conflicts, people dealt with psychologically as a brain mechanism while they were living. Maybe some of that residue is still with us, and functions like a mind, is responsive. So yeah, that would explain why spirits tend to be emotional.
Yeah, residual emotion. Yeah, that's why. Sorry, the chocolate. That's why.
Lay off those things.
That's why a lot of Christians, even non-Christians too, will have their house cleansed or blessed before they move in, because the people that lived there before, they fought in that house. If they had, if there was a lot of negative things that occurred in that house, a lot of people believed for that to linger. And I really truly believe it as well, because I don't know if you've ever been in a place that has a lot of dark stuff to it, and maybe necessarily never knew about it, and then you find out about it, and you're like, oh, that's why I felt kind of like scummy there. Yeah. So, but it's seriously though, it does. There's some reason that emotion and other unseen things can linger.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And then April's joining us. Hi, April.
Oh, there's a familiar lady.
Hi, April. She's my love bug.
Hi.
Hey, bro.
If I didn't have a boyfriend, she'd be my girlfriend.
If I didn't have a boyfriend, she'd be my girlfriend.
Yeah.
No.
Here. This is a nice best guests ever. Well, we have them on once a month. So
I love the St. Michael thing too. I'm a big fan of St. Michael.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's interesting because I got distracted. Ugh, hate when my brain does that. Oh my gosh.
Fill in the blanks. We like your brain the way it is.
It's not good when you're trying to interview people, you know, and you just go over here to left field.
If I know my brain.
It's the lights. The lights keep distracting you.
Oh yeah, my kitties, my ugly sweater.
Yes,
I like your hat though, Elise.
I know she got the Santa hat. You got the red sweater. You can't probably see it, but he has a Christmas tree pin. And then I'm not jolly.
That's awesome.
Vader.
It's Darth Vader.
I have a Redskins Santa hat I should have wore.
Well,
yeah.
Today, so I just put this.
I was gonna buy us 3 matching pajamas, but
Oh my goodness!
That would have been amazing.
great. I would have made Mama a unicorn. I would have made Carl.
yeah, things 1 and 2 and 3. We can make thing 1 and thing 2.
Thing 1 and thing 2. Yeah.
That's like combining Halloween and Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, you're getting dressed up and you're, celebrating Christmas.
Start doing when we lecture together. We're gonna start dressing up in costumes.
What?
So
yeah.
interesting. I mean, even with Christmas, I mean, you have the story of Ebenezer, the ghosts of Christmas, past, present, and future, and
Charles Darwin. I mean Dickens. Sorry, Charles Darwin. I love Charles Darwin.
Weren't they
too.
first cousins anyway? They got the same first name. Yeah.
oh my gosh, this one.
Yeah.
She's driving and listening. Thanks, April.
And
then she says, "Ask me about my Redskins bikini." Look, she's so bad.
she coming on then with the Redskins bikini, and you can wear the hat.
But
Dickens is awesome, man.
yeah, that is like, now first of all, my favorite Christmas movie is Scrooge, but with Bill Murray, because that movie is just awesome.
Oh, yeah, it's a great movie.
I love that movie. I think it's great. I think it's awesome, funny, and kind of but I never even really looked at it that way until we were listening to I don't even remember what song it was, like an old school 50s, 60s Christmas song. And I was like, why'd they say ghost stories? And where I was like,
yeah, campfires and stuff
Yep.
like that.
There'll be scary ghost stories.
yes, thank you.
Long, long ago.
Oh, I'm impressed, Carl.
Hey,
It's the most wonderful time of the year. That's
Yeah.
it.
But seriously though, a lot of people don't realize Charles Dickens' history within the paranormal culture. People don't realize his
One of the
even
founders of a ghost hunter club.
yeah. Well, in 1871, I do believe, but the Ghost Club, which is one of the oldest paranormal organizations out there. But he also has many articles. One of them being called The Haunted House or A Haunted House. So he has a lot of early writings, early literature that are the perspective on the ghost and dealing with haunted locations. But he was also very perceived to the fact that he knew most of the times that people dealt with paranormal phenomena, it was a natural occurrence that we misunderstood. And he clearly writes that, especially.
Well, yeah. Now, how progressive is that story? Because reading that story, the famous A Christmas Carol,
it's really a haunting of himself.
The reader is never sure.
Yeah.
Is there really ghostly activity, or was this all in Ebenezer Scrooge's mind? Because Dickens seems to exemplify that one at the end when he said, "Oh, the spirits, they've done it all in one night. It's Christmas Day." Well, obviously, he's had this vivid dream. His conscience has been working on him, and this is how it comes forth.
Yeah.
It's projected by the symbolism of these 3 spirits. So it's a ghost story and a psychological thriller in a way, too,
Yeah. And then maybe, him being so negative and grumpy and mean and mad, You know, maybe that's how it all came about too.
Jesus Christ was surrounded by poverty and poor people and sad people, and then something got to him, and it came forth. And the conveyance of his conscience is his deceased partner of 7 years, dead 7 years, Jacob Marley.
Yes.
I am here to warn you. You still have a chance of escaping my fate.
Right.
Look, this is the fate that awaits you. No.
You know what the crazy thing is, and I love Carl to death, but he remembers all this stuff, but doesn't remember what I talked to him about yesterday.
I don't remember what I talked to if I told you things. That's why you get the stories again and again. I'm a residual one. I'm atmospheric. I keep replaying, I walk through his room the same way. I walked around the dining room table the same way. Now, what is it, like 8 o'clock? You'll see Carl. There he is.
There he is.
Walking around. He doesn't know he's already walking around.
He just went through the door. How did he do that?
That made me.
That's great.
Yeah. And I'll tell you, Miss Taryn, if I may, about a real contradiction, a case in which I was involved 13 years ago, almost 14 years ago. We think we've got all this categorized, and we figured out how paranormal manifests, and hauntings. This was a poltergeist. You see, I hear the bell. The poltergeist, and it was a haunting, as in a human spirit, 2 human spirits, and it was demonic. And it was just as clearly all 3 of those categories, all combined into one. It was doing the same.
All combined into one. That's interesting. Well, because I've never heard of that.
It throws everything we think we know out the window with some like shadow people do, And I think there was even a shadow person involved. No, but they had us. These spirits would speak to us on the recordings, the audio recordings. They would actually have messages for us, not very happy messages. Objects were propelled around the rooms like classic poltergeist, and it manifested in a demonic sense. You get that eerie, sick feeling that a demon will inflict, and you just knew it was something unwholesome and inhuman. And yet, all 3 of these manifestations concurrently happening in that house. It was something.
Case.
How do you deal with that? Do you have to deal with each one individually before you, or is it like you have to?
We investigated them all individually, but how did we deal with it? We didn't. The family was driven out. Couldn't help them.
Was it Coventry?
What? Yeah, Coventry. I mean, I shouldn't say we couldn't help them, because we did give them some solace and understanding and presented our evidence. And, like, you really do have something here. But ultimately, they were like driven from their house, and they really weren't taking our advice anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's the main thing. Like the whoever you're helping they have to be willing to do what you're telling them to do. I mean, we already talked about that. I mean, they have to, right?
They wanted confirmation which they already knew, that the house was haunted, but they just didn't, take any steps positive to rid themselves of it. Not consistently, anyway.
There's somebody that has a question, but all he said was, "Justin, go ahead. You can ask your question." He said, "I have a question," so I'm just waiting for him to. Maybe he's typing. I don't know.
So, what are you doing for Christmas, Taryn?
What am I doing? So tomorrow I'm going over my cousin's house for a little bit to celebrate with them. And then Christmas morning, waking up and going to my brother's to watch my little niece and nephew. I'm sure they're not watching this. So my brother is surprising everybody with a puppy, a boxer puppy in the morning. So I'm going to go over there and watch that. And then Christmas night, just hanging out. And then Saturday, Rob's kids are coming over, and we're doing a pajama upside down day. So we have breakfast, and we wear pajamas all day and exchange gifts, and that's what I'm doing. New Year's, I'm going to Gettysburg. So I'll be going from Thursday to Sunday, and I'll be in my heaven. So looking forward to that. All right, so here's the first part to his question. There's 2 messages. All right. I was real close to my uncle. He passed away. Do our loved ones follow people that were close to them? I believe so.
Yeah, I definitely think so. And I think we should believe anything else, because anything positive is good. And, I always hope that my loved ones, if it is possible, do watch over me and hope the best for me.
Those are always very, you have to be they're delicate, right? So like when people come to you and you know they're clearly mourning the loss of somebody, and you know they come to you and they say, "Oh, look at this picture I took. There's an orb there. Is that my dad? You know, or is that my puppy?" You know, you have to be so. I always say, you know, if you feel that they're there, you don't need a picture for validation. Like, you know, it's like, you know, just, you know, always just, you know, accept it. And, you know, if that's what you feel, you're feeling it for a reason. You know, I never really give an answer to the pictures because, you know, you don't want to, you know, hurt their feelings or anything like that. But
I used to have a friend that used to, his grandfather, well, he's not a friend anymore, but yeah, I have a former friend that used to believe his grandfather, when he'd come visit him, he'd see a blue jay. And, you know, of course, seeing blue jay around here all the time is not, it's uncommon. It's uncommon. So, but every time you
sorry,
a blue jay would.
Sorry.
But what would I say? You know, I say anything, I can't say, no, it's just a blue jay, or pull out a shotgun and shoot the blue jay. But all you could do is support him and say, yeah, you know, okay, your grandfather maybe is watching over you. So you have to be supportive, because you can't shoot people's hopes down. It's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah, and you're not really harming anything by saying that. If he thinks a blue jay is a sign, it's not going to change his life. You know,
it may be. We can't definitively say that it is, but we can't say that it isn't.
Yeah. Right. How do we know? Right.
My mother's the cardinal bird. You know, there's freaky things have happened in coincidence with cardinal. As my niece.
Oh yeah, that's a lot. That's a big thing. A lot of people believe in the cardinal thing, that it's, you know, this, you know, somebody saying hi or whatever. And
well,
you know.
Let me tell you, 2 nights ago, Elise and I decided we were going, which we do sometimes. We were going to record our dreams. I should do that every night, but I don't. Because you forget them so quickly. We were going to record our dreams, and her dreams were interesting and significant. But I want to talk about mine. I dreamt that very vivid, very colorful dreams. Sometimes I dream in black and white or monotone. This is a very colorful dream. And among many other things that happened, I was in a church hall with my mother, who passed away October 1st of last year. And I was very close to my mother, still feel close to her. And we were dancing. I said, I remember her voice was so clear. And even as I walked onto the hall dance floor, I could hear my footsteps. I said, you know, if this is a dream, this is very real. You know.
Yeah. So it was a visit. It was a visit dream.
Yes, it felt like that. And I mean, I could actually feel my footsteps. I could hear them. I could feel my surroundings. And I was dancing with my mother, and I was saying, Mom, and she looked so beautiful. She was a beautiful woman physically. The pictures support that. And she just looked, she didn't look like a young woman, but she looked younger. She looked restored. And I said, I so hope you can hear me, Mommy. I hope you're hearing me. You know, I'm just having a wonderful time being with you now. I don't even want to think how or why, but I hope you can hear this. And she said, I hear you, dear. I hear you.
Oh, that's awesome.
And, you know, but I could feel her, and I touched her hair, you know, the back. I could feel it.
Yeah.
And the next morning, when I got up, I checked my messages, and I had a text from my sister, and she said, Carl, today is the winter solstice. This is when person, you know, in tradition says that lost loved ones come back to you and talk to you. I had no idea that. I hadn't heard that. And she said, so let's keep our mother and father in prayer and in mind today. And I had just had that dream, and I told her about it. She said, amazing.
Yeah.
She told me that's when they come back to you. So synchronicity, coincidence, whatever, or real, you know, visitation, you know, it was a beautiful moment.
Oh my God. Well, I had a visit dream with my dad, one. And I've dreamt of my dad many a times, but there was one dream where I know we were together. I mean, the emotional afterwards was even insane. You know, like it was just so detailed. I could feel the fabric of his shirt. I could smell his skin. I could feel his shirt. I could feel like I just feel everything, you know, and then pulling myself out of the dream, which felt like the hardest thing I've ever done. Felt like my body was like being held down and I was like trying to wake. And as I'm opening my eyes, I could see his silhouette in my bedroom door. And I wake up and I'm like, I just start bawling my eyes out like uncontrollably. Like I'm like splashing water in my face. I've never been like that before or after. Like nothing's ever affected me that way. You know what I mean? So I know for sure that was a visit dream. I don't care what any skeptic can tell me, whatever the hell they want to tell me, but I know what happened, you know? So
yeah, when my great grandfather passed away back in May 1972, he was 94 years of age. This was my mother when she went. I had such a vivid dream of my great grandfather. He was a mason, a master mason, and I saw him with people around him. And as I walked forward, and I could hear my footsteps, see all around me, and I realized these were masons, his brother masons, and he was in the center. And he told me, and he looked older but restored, and he said, "You'll remember this as a dream. You know, you will remember this as a dream, but I want to assure you that I'm all right." And we go on, that this isn't the end of everything. And he was so dignified in his presence, and as he was in life, when he told me that, and then I didn't know what suit he would be wearing. I didn't know how they dressed him when he was buried. He was buried with his eyeglasses and his the gray suit that I saw him in. So again, you know, I want to believe that. I'm cautious about it, but it was at the time, it was so a lucid dream, so real. Yeah. I was even analyzing, like I'm aware of the space in between us. You know.
I told you guys the dream I had about where I said I battled a demon in my dream and I was moving on. Right, I told you about that. So I had an opposite dream, which was crazy to me. Like I had it, and my dreams can be very action packed and all kinds of vivid colors and things are all happening and craziness. Right. So what I remember is it was like a natural disaster was happening, something that, you know, we couldn't prevent that was going to happen. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm like yelling. I'm like, please tell me that heaven exists, you know, like something after exists. And in my dream, it was like God was answering me. And he says, I can't tell you that. You just have to have faith and believe. And I'm like, just say if it's true or not. You know, as I'm falling down and I'm like plummeting to my death, I'm like, just say it. He's like, you have to believe, you know? And I woke up and I was like, holy fuck. Like that was intense. Like, even though it was like this short little thing, I'm like yelling out and asking God to tell me if heaven really exists and stuff like this. And he's like, I can't tell you. You just have to believe. You have to have faith. And I'm like, but I don't know. I'm like, just tell me. And I'm like I'm like falling, you know. And I woke up obviously before you hit the ground.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. But I mean, it was just as equally as intense as the other. You know what I mean? Like I was like, wow, is that
real experience? Yeah.
Yeah, it was really.
My parents in the yard, in the backyard, they had a stone wall, and some of the edges of those stones were sharp, very well made stone wall. And I remember having a dream, and I was probably 11 years old, I think. And I was running, I used to jump up, sometimes with not favorable results. I used to run and jump up on that stone wall. And one time I missed it, but I was in the dream, and I hit my shin, and I was thinking, oh boy, I was dreaming. I knew I was dreaming. I said, oh boy, if you ever wonder if you can feel something in a dream, you can. And I woke up, and my knee was aching for a minute, but there was no bruise. I didn't do anything. I was sleeping on it wrong. It's just, you know, I could feel that in the dream. It was replicated, you know, in the dream.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Psychiatrists in our mind, the psychologists, you know, well, you know, it's a series of associations, and your mind has to adjust to it. And they do so. It does so through dreams, you know, and they seem very real. And you've got the other side of you. No, believe. It's
Yeah.
for you. They're trying to get through to you. And as parapsychologists and paranormal researchers, we have to try and combine those two lines of thought, which are mutually exclusive, but we have to make them work together.
What do you think? What do you guys think about? I'm gonna just throw two subjects out there: reincarnation and deja vu.
Oh, you got
not saying that they're related,
right.
but I was talking to somebody today, and we were talking about deja vu, and then it was like kind of like those two subjects kind of like go to each other one way or the other,
I think so. Very eerie when it happens, that deja vu. Well, I've talked so much, I should surrender the floor to my colleagues here.
I know a little bit about deja vu. One of the things that can happen is you know a lot more than you think you know. You might have learned something years ago and it's still in the back of your brain, and your mind is constantly trying to make associations. So you walk into a room, there might be a smell from something that happened in your grandmother's house 20 years ago. When you walk in, you smell that smell, and you're like, I've been here before. And you don't realize that it's the smell that's just bringing back this memory. And also there's something that's called the cocktail party effect, where if a bunch of people are standing around talking, and I'm just having a conversation with Carl, and there are 100 other conversations going on in the room, your brain is still picking up things out of these conversations, even though you're not paying attention to them. So are picking up knowledge and keeping knowledge that you don't even know you have. And sometimes, again, something will trigger one of those memories, and you'll come up with an association, like I've been here before, I felt this before, when it's just an association in your mind. And I'm not saying that deja vu doesn't happen, but
right.
I mean, a lot of times it is just those psychological things that are making you think you've been there before.
I definitely agree. There was a study, I believe in 2006, about deja vu, and then they created memories and put it into people's perspectives while they were under hypnosis. And they were able to understand that, okay, like they said, there's things that people want to think, oh, there is this preternatural force, or there's some afterlife, or there's some reincarnation or past life regression. I don't think deja vu exists. I think there's enough data out there that explains that we always want to jump to a conclusion like deja vu, like intuition. People don't realize, for people that, I think some abilities exist, but, a lot of people don't understand, like psychology. They believe in intuition. Instead of the five senses, there is a sixth sense, there's a seventh sense, there's an eighth sense. And a lot of psychologists believe in this theory. So I'm not a big fan of deja vu. I think it's interesting when, I felt like I've lived that life before. Like I've had dreams, and I'm like, I feel like I've lived this before. But in the same token, like Elise says, like I want it to.
There is a possible explanation if you're looking into parapsychological stuff as opposed to psychological stuff, is that it is precognition, where you're actually thinking ahead of when this happens, and then by the time you get there, it has happened.
You created it.
You created it basically in your mind.
Then it would be something
that makes sense.
It would be a genuine phenomenon.
I was trying to explain in this. I was trying to learn in this class after being out of college for 35 years.
But also in the same token, which she says precognition. In reality, that's not like a phenomenon. Like that's in the fourth. It's like a tarot card reading. It's a perfect example of it. You can sit down in front of a tarot reader. Like Ken Boggle, who's a great guy. I love Ken. And he can tell you this is what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Here's the death card. Here's the light card, blah. You're going to be a millionaire once you walk out that door. But you walk out the other door, you're no longer a freaking millionaire because you changed the whole reality. So it's the same thing. Like if I tell myself this is going to happen and it eventually happens, you can't create into reality certain things. That's the power of thought. It's
you mean like a psychic imposition that actually produces the reality.
You produce the reality. But as far as reincarnation, I don't believe in it. I don't think it exists. I don't think it's a possibility. I think that the things like past life regression, like the little boy, prime example, he was a fighter pilot. I feel like unfortunately when he was younger, he somehow watched something or was introduced to this ability that about a fighter pilot, and he was just able to soak all that information into recesses of his brain, and then it came back to play at an earlier point in his childhood. So I'm really hard on the bolt, like Hinduism and a lot of Eastern cultures, like Shintoism. I love all those cultures. I have 13 Japanese tattoos all over my body, and I really love that culture. But their form of reincarnation is a totally different aspect of what Western culture believes it to be, and it's not in the same form as a lot of people believe it to be. I think it's the misconceptions of the mixture of Eastern and Western culture. So the way Western culture believes it, I don't think it exists.
Like a person dies, here comes their spirit.
Here comes an animal.
Just pops into this little baby.
Yeah. Well, the numbers, the logistics are against it, because if you have a finite number of souls, and our purpose in reincarnation is to learn, and for our own benefit, our own expansion, and humans have been around reincarnating for 120,000 years, just to round it off. Then some of these souls are finding bodies for the first time, and there are more people on the earth than there's ever been. And you say you had a world populace of 300 million people, to use a very general number, and now you've got 7.2 billion. The numbers just add up. It isn't fair to the people the infants who just lived a short life, or people who are souls that are incarnating for the first time. To what end, if they're only going to be around for perhaps 2 lifetimes, 180 years or something.
Yeah.
And you've got other souls that have been around for so long, for millennia. And yet there doesn't seem to be a big difference in the strata. People are people. I don't see all these super enlightened people, a few individuals, but, mostly people are people with some commonalities. It does not seem to have any logic to it.
Yeah.
I'd like to believe in reincarnation. That's why I'm very cautious about it. I don't.
Now, look, if reincarnation was such a big thing, the more that it is now, look at a lot of ancient civilizations. The reason that they had burial services, like ancient Egyptians had it was so that these people didn't come back to haunt them.
Right.
That's why they did have funeral services. It was preventative measures to not be haunted.
But where did that idea come from?
What? Reincarnation?
Or burial.
Like the ancient Egyptians, like where did the fear come from?
Well, I think
you know what I mean. Like it was like why all of a sudden? I mean, like if nothing ever happened, there wouldn't be a reason for them to do certain things to prevent it from happening. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
it makes you wonder why they went through so much trouble with their preparations and their elaborate theologies. Why, if there was nothing to it, why did they have such a system? Why didn't they just say, well, they go to some cloud?
Yeah.
Like that.
Well, I think it's the fallibility of humans, though, to be honest with you, because if you look at cultures before the conception of dualism, there were a lot of differences in what our mindset is now to before the aspects of dualism and karma and all that stuff. And people did not come back to haunt people unless it was a dire situation. So to the fact to where we are now, especially like reincarnation, to jump back on that wagon, is a lot of people don't realize is like when the form of reincarnation is when you hit the ground, when your physical body hits the ground, you become compost to the earth. You become one with the earth. You become part of life again because you're giving back to life. Because once you decompose, you are helping other plants which talk and live, and animals that feed from the ground. You're giving back to life, and you are in some form reincarnating back into life because you are one with life. In a big circle.
One person coming back as another.
So they all come from ideologies that are misinterpreted. To me, if you look at spirits and ghosts, before 1633, I do believe is when spirits started to become natural talking within civilization, in the concept that we kind of believe in today. But before that, it really was a totally different spectrum of world of how we interpreted the communication and the interaction between spirits, ghosts, there being an afterlife. Like I think a lot of people don't realize, if you look at the construction of the afterlife and life after death, it really is some form of a shell for us to want to hope that there's an ability, if we fuck up in this life, that we can come
back.
Second chance. We have a second chance to go around the merry-go-round.
Well, it's a very attractive possibility to
believe.
You know who was the first culture to embrace the belief in the afterlife? It is thought. You know, the very first were before the Egyptians and before the Sumerians. You know, from ancient Sumer, the Neanderthals.
Mm.
Neanderthals.
The cave paintings,
100,000 years ago. So, you know, say 250,000 years ago, up until roughly 30,000 years ago, we had the Neanderthal people, and they were a people, and they were the first to bury their dead. They buried them with ornamentation and sprinkled the bodies with ochre. Now, that strongly indicates they had a belief in some continuance in an afterlife.
Right.
Buried them with artifacts.
Well, a lot of afterlife stories are a construct of organized religion, because how else are you going to keep people in line?
That's true.
It's you're going to hell. You better, align yourself. You better prepare.
This life and listen to what we say and do what we say. And
well,
that's true.
I think it was the ancient Mesopotamians that believed that once you died, you came onto the ground, you became like a ground creature, and you'd come from the ground, like the early ideologies of zombies. You know, the Mesopotamians believed in that. So, but it wasn't ancient civilizations. It wasn't a common thing for a human to come back and speak to living individuals. Mm-hmm. That's why the gods were more omnipresent, individualized sensation. Like the gods would talk to the humans. But when you hear in Greek mythology of a human spirit talking to people, usually it's not the case. Sure. Usually the gods or a daemon.
They had the ancient Greeks had a pretty dismal concept of the afterlife.
Oh, they didn't really believe in it.
No, and as the ancient Hebrews, they didn't really emphasize in a life after death that this is your game, this is your time of trial and tribulation and reward, and you just entered a dismal Sheol, which really means the grave. And they thought that the souls would wander aimlessly after, or walk in a long train, a long procession, but not really accomplishing anything, not being concerned with past or future.
And if you're really terrible, you go to Hades.
Yeah, that could be rough.
I remember watching this special. Now, granted, it was TV, but it was like on PBS, and I never ever gave reincarnation a second thought. Like I never believed in it. I thought, whatever, one of my best friends was Hindu, and he said their culture believed in it. And, if you were a shitty person in this life, you came back as like a cockroach or something in the next life. And if, stuff like that. But so I was watching this show, and literally he was like four or five, little boy. And it was on years ago. And I want to say it was on like 2020 or ABC or something like that. They had like a show on. And this little kid he said that he lived before. He knew his name. He knew what he did. He could pick out, and the parents were freaked out at first. They were like, why does he keep saying, he's from another town, another state, another town? He said his address. He said where he was buried. They took him to like a couple of different types of doctors and PhDs and psychologists and psychiatrists. And, these people researched the person that he said he was. Everything that the little boy said was true. This person really was, lived here, and they got this book and got a whole bunch of pictures of all these men that looked similar to who it was that he described who he was. And they said, who are you? And he's like, that guy. Picked him right out without hesitation. They're like, yes. Oh my gosh, it's true. So I was like, you're watching this. And I'm like, oh, he's 4. He can't use the internet. He's like, he can't, how is this happening? How is that happening? Like, how do you
the untrue truths principle, or sometimes you get a real conundrum, and it shouldn't be, but I think it's a plug-in where the youngster actually connects with someone from the past, recent or long past, and is actually absorbing them and translating their personalities, through that, what sort of is the Akashic records, a vast repository of all human thought and actions. And sometimes some people seem to have an ability to tap into this repository. And I think that's where they absorb an awful lot of a personality and essentially become.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, I never thought about that. I never thought that.
They're not the same personality, but they absorb the person's memories, and that sense lives through them.
Yeah.
And I had a very interesting, very good conversation with Aaron Houdini, who is the great nephew of Harry Houdini, the magician, the escape artist. And I saw him perform. We were at Queen City Paracon 10 years ago. And we went to the Octagon House in Kentucky after the conference, or during the conference that night, for an overnight paranormal investigation. Mind you, I didn't know it was an overnight. But by 11 o'clock, I realized we're not going back to the hotel, are we? No, this is an overnight. But Aaron wanted to talk to me. I hit it off with him right away. And we went into the gift shop, which was closed at that time, of the Octagon. It was Civil War House, fascinating investigation. And it was dark, getting dark. There were no lights on in the gift shop. And he said, "Carl, I want to talk to you later." And then when we were there, he said, "Can I talk to you now?" And I thought, oh my God, I've said my big mouth. I said some joke. I said something that offended him. I'm ready to apologize, whatever it was. So he said, "Carl," he said, "I knew you were coming to this conference, and you're my reason for being here. I wanted to talk to you." He said, "Do you think there's something I've wanted to ask you? Do you think I could be the reincarnation of my great uncle?" And I tell you, I fought back tears when he asked me that. For me, he thought that much of me that he came to the conference to ask me that.
Well, how did you answer that?
I mean,
especially, obviously, he believes that, right?
Oh, I so wanted to tell him everything that was positive, but I said, I don't subscribe to reincarnation, but as most people accept it, but I do believe that something lingers, something remains, and some persons, especially if we're a relation, we have an ability to tap into that, and there's something there that remains, and it comes into us, and that person lives again through us, right. And we exhibit their traits. And he had tears coming out of his eyes, and he said, thank you, and he hugged me. And that was one of the most rewarding moments, if not the most rewarding moments I've ever had with my parapsychological and paranormal research, is that he thought that much of me. He humbled me and inflated me at the same time.
Right.
He actually sojourned to ask me that question, and I gave him my most honest answer, and he was happy with it, because I believe that. I believe that his great uncle comes through him sometimes. So that illustrates my view of it. Sometimes we pull into something, tap into it's what author P.E.I. Bonowitz in his book Real Magic called the switchboard. Sometimes we plug in. He said he was not the first one to think of this concept, but he's taking it further. And some people absorb it. You grab on to something that's there, that a part of a person that was there. And for a while, that person is incorporated into the living person, and they live again for a while. And I think that's what was happening with Aaron Houdini. He's an escape artist. He's an entertainer. He's a debunker, and so he's his own person with his own career, but his great uncle, Harry Houdini, is getting another new lease on life through him.
Well, that's cool. Maybe that was his great escape from wherever he's at.
Maybe through his great nephew.
I just wanted to share. My father's dad, when he passed away, they did a traditional Viking burial, and my dad told me about, which I thought was scary. I don't know anything about Viking.
So they torched him on planks of wood. Way to go.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of ordinance what they have to get from the city for
know
from that.
Well, they put him technically on what's the name of what's called
a
longboat.
A longboat. Oh yeah, the vessel itself is the longboat.
When they put him on a longboat, stab with wood logs, and then send it out.
Just put him out to sea.
Yeah, usually that's what they.
Depends on how far out you go.
Yeah,
There's
sure.
rules about even spreading ashes in the water.
Sure.
Yeah.
Once you're into international waters, the rules change. You know.
I would love to go out like a Vikinger though. A Vikinger, torch me now.
I'd like to attend one of them.
No.
Well, I mean, no, it's just sad that the person is gone. But
Yeah, he says it was a longboat.
It was a longboat.
Yep, the Vikings longboat.
So I love Norse.
I hope it had like a dragon's head on it, you know. And yeah, and what a majestic way to go! It's how many of our ancestors, my ancestors, being of Scandinavian descent on my father's side, yeah, I'm sure some of them were torched on the boat, and yeah, it's wonderful. It's majestic. It's what a tribute to it gives a heroic person in life a heroic departure into the. You feel they're sailing into the next life.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. That sounds. I mean, if I'm already gone, yeah, put me in the fire. I don't care. I wouldn't want to.
And then they put the coins on the eyes too. The coins have to go on the eyes. Yeah. It's so that that evil can't get into your body.
Yeah, keep the evil out, and also to pay the ferryman over the river Styx, isn't it? I like
that. Even the Vikings believed that there was possibilities of spirit, and evil.
Well, they believed in Valhalla. Once you went to Valhalla, you didn't come back though. It's not like you.
Yeah. No, you're happy there.
You're happy.
You feast. You engage in battles during the daytime, and sometimes you're slain. And then you're resurrected for the next day. At night, you feast in the halls of Valhalla, and you feast on pork and meat, and then that's a pretty.
But in reality, though, to go back to the reincarnation things, I love it so much. But in some token, though, I love the word token for some reason. But
Tolkien.
I love J.R. Tolkien, as you can look at
J.R.R. Tolkien.
But in a serious thing about it, even Christians believe in some form of reincarnation. It's in the form that though we go to heaven, and heaven is our actual home. Like that's where we actually come from, and then we become physical beings. We live on this physical plane, and then when we die, we go back to heaven. So
we're called home.
We're called home. But we're not coming physically back alive. Our consciousness goes to where our consciousness had originally came from. So it's weird to interpret. It's so many people have different interpretations of it though, because I think 4,000 different belief systems, either in denominational form or in its own religion.
It says consciousness is eternal, bodies are not.
Yeah, well, yeah, in some
Once we
form.
can figure out what consciousness is, we can figure all of this stuff
out. Oh, definitely. If we ever figure it out at all,
Right, yeah, for sure. I mean, we look back and you bring up the Greeks and they had a god for everything. They had a sun god, a rain god, the sky god, what they've got. And we look back now and we're like, guys are a little dramatic, but who knows, 150 to 200, 300 years from now, when they look back and they find a REM pod, or they find what were these people doing?
Lighting.
Yeah, right. Well, a lot of polytheistic religions actually still exist. One of them being, of course, paganism. Neo-paganism. Yeah, Wicca, a Wiccan. They believe in multiple different gods. A lot of us celebrate Christmas. They'll celebrate Yule or Saturnalia, right?
Yeah, the Saturnalia, upon which the Christmas holiday, as far as date, is predicated. My favorite Roman god is Lucifer, bearer of light. Was believed in, and colloquially, like in the 19th century, when the morning star Venus rises, that's Lucifer in the morning.
The show Lucifer really ruined me, because every time somebody brings up Lucifer or Morningstar, I picture him, and I'm like, I'd be so down. I would be so down to hang out with Lucifer Morningstar. Let me tell you.
I look like him a little bit.
Luciferian ideal, yeah. And how about an old favorite, Straculius?
Huh?
You remember Straculius? You don't remember Straculius?
No, I don't. I'm with Elise on this one.
Oh, well, that actually was a god of manure. And he said everything. And we became aware of him with Beavis and Butthead. And they had a fantasy sequence of Beavis and Butthead. And Butthead saying, look, Beavis, it's Tertullius, the Roman god of species. You know?
Right.
And yeah.
Right. My name is Botmolio.
My cornholio.
Cornholio, no, he's Butholio now. Yeah,
Botmolio. But it's Cornholio. I get to my butthole.
That was a good show.
Now this has gotten very silly. Now we should
Yeah.
ourselves. But you know what? My favorite burial. You talk about the Viking burial. It'd be an expensive. I'd like to die on Mars. Actually, I'd like to die on Mars. Well, I'd like to be I'd like to be the first human burial on Mars. Yeah.
Synchronicity.
But I mean, no, if my time's up, I'd like to open the space capsule and be death by Mars. You know, like just be there.
Well, it's definitely possible. They did just come out. Actually,
Well, that's unlikely.
I sent this thing about alien civilizations.
I saw that.
There was actually another article that came out today that actually talked about you could make your dream come true because they're saying that long-term time in space is really bad for you.
The what?
Long-term time in space is bad for you.
Well, there are several cogent reasons why that is bad for you. Besides, you know, muscle atrophication.
Oh yeah,
atrophying. And,
it affects the mind.
Yeah, it does because your mind is a physical organism, and after a while, you have that out of line balance, an imbalance. Yeah, it's going to be in a space too long is not a good thing.
Yeah,
your bones
you could die on Mars. Yeah.
Well, I was kidding. I don't want to die on Mars. I'm very hospitable. But I mean, if I have to go, I'd like to be the first burial on Mars.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool to get put like in a capsule and just like,
maybe I terraform the Earth. Maybe the bacteria in my body would actually start something. I don't know.
Maybe
He's trying.
Yeah. You know? Yeah, maybe you'll start a whole new alien civilization with your.
Do you know how easy it would be to die on Mars? If you were in an astronaut's suit, you know, space suit, and you step outside of the capsule, and you get silly, you want to touch the Martian soil. You know, theoretically, somebody could touch the Martian soil and survive for a little while, but you would die quickly because you peel back. Peel back. You compromise your, you know, what's encapsulating you, the integrity of the spacesuit. You peel back the finger of the glove because I want to touch Martian soil. All kinds of things are going to happen right away. Your finger is freeze dried.
Yeah, there's no ionosphere.
Never mind the radiation that would kill you. This is, and then you have an embolism, like bubbles in the blood. The nitrogen forms bubbles, and that travels through to your heart and your brain. You got about a minute if you're lucky. Probably not even a minute if you just touched your fingertip to the Martian soil.
Wouldn't it make more sense to like put it in a baggie and take it home?
And then touch his hand.
Oh yeah. I'm going to tell you. Well,
Tupperware or something.
Hey, listen. I think it was.
That's why you're the manager, because you think ahead.
Bring space Tupperware. It's like all the people that go to Normandy Beach and get the sand from Normandy Beach.
Yeah, but she's down. Look, I would have killed myself on Mars. She has a way that you can touch it and just be just right as rain. No rain. Okay.
She saved you. But I was going to say, I mean, didn't Mark Wahlberg survive for like what? How many days?
Yes.
Yeah, he was.
I was gonna say that you beat me to it. I'm gonna say Matt Damon for some reason, but
he did.
Was it Matt Damon or was it Mark Wahlberg?
I should think it was Matt Damon.
Well,
was it?
Matt Damon.
They were both astronauts on Mars, just not in the same movie.
Yeah. Matt Damon.
Matt Damon
blew himself up in that. Yeah, no, he.
I mean, he was like growing plants and shit.
You ever see Team America: World Police?
No.
Oh my God. Team America. Fuck yeah. You have to watch. It's a puppet movie. It has Matt Damon in it. It's awesome.
And yet Mars used to be a lot more Earth-like, didn't it?
Yeah, when it had an ionosphere to it, yeah.
Yes, it had an ionosphere. It had an atmosphere. It had rushing water. It had oceans.
They still think it does, actually.
They made, subterranean oceans. I mean, like below the hard surface. But Mars has polar caps that recede and expand seasonally. Mars has lightning. Mars has a very dramatic sunrise and sunset, which you can watch on YouTube. And you know, it's fascinating to look at from the surface of Mars. Look at a photograph of the planet Earth. You know,
I'm so fascinated with you know, the solar system, and you know, I watch meteor showers and lunar eclipses and solar eclipses. you couldn't pay me to get in a rocket and go anywhere up there.
Well, I wouldn't really do it. I'll talk about it on your show, but you know.
No, I know, but I wouldn't. Like if somebody said,
ours is a course.
I would love to, man.
like if somebody said, "Here's a free trip. Here you go," I'd be like,
Well,
I'd give it to one of my great nephews.
Well, if you have the money, you can either go through SpaceX or Virgin. What's his name? That guy, Pierce. Ranson. They actually do be above the atmosphere travel.
Nope. Nope.
To do it, would love to. But they say the G-forces are actually one of the worst things that experiencing the G-forces. The 3 times the G-forces that you're not supposed to experience is the worst thing you can actually do to yourself. So.
I don't even like elevators. So.
I know. I'm like, I had a tough time I had a tough time being so high up at the Grand Canyon. I can't imagine like being. I literally, when I watch movies about and people are in space, and I'm like, no. I would want to get down so bad. I would just want
It's a fine line between orbit and falling, you know, and one bleeds into the other easily, you know. And what else I was going to say about the Martian experience and all that? I don't remember now.
Talking about Martian experiences.
I
sent Elise and Carl an article earlier, and they said that 13 billion years ago. 13.4 billion years ago is when our Milky Way galaxy was created.
Well, that's one way of looking at it.
So they said that early existence to the Milky Way, there were most likely alien civilizations, but we're 5 billion years too late because a lot of them had an intelligence, gained an intelligence because of the Drake equation. So back in 1963, Drake came out with equation of the possibilities of life. There was a mathematical equation where, because of the habitable zones that where life could exist because of it being a certain
the Goldilocks
region. But they said that we're 5 billion years too late. That they're at this point in the time, from what they've understand about the equation and the things that they've come accustomed to with NASA's and understanding the particles within the Milky Way, that there's probably no life that exists in the Milky Way universe. The galaxy, I should say.
Yeah, in this galaxy. Well, because that's finite to this universe, though. And it wasn't until the 1930s that astrophysicists realized that there's more outside of the Milky Way galaxy that many of these stars will.
Isn't that insane? I mean, it just is so intimidating.
It'll drive myself insane by contemplating if I can.
You really can't wrap your brain around it. Even like the distances and lengths and how many years and light years and this and that it takes to get to this point to the other.
I mean, system, and then you magnify that from other solar systems, and light traveling at 182,000 miles per second, and yet it takes 4.5 life years to get to the nearest star. It's a binary system.
But you know what I find more intimidating, though? I think space is fascinating, intimidating, of course. But what to me is more intimidating is that we know more about space than our own planet, because we have 80% of the ocean is undiscovered, unexplored.
Yeah.
80%.
Oh, I know. I feel the same way about the ocean that I do about the sky.
That to me is more intimidating. Like we know more around us than
that terrifies me. You know, like the thought of going in a pressurized capsule and become untethered and you sink to the bottom of the deepest ocean. It's very.
Those are the movies I don't like. Underwater submarines.
Yeah.
Because at a certain point, they're not bringing you back.
Yeah, what was that movie, Deep Blue Sea, where they were on the thing and there was an alien on board, they all had psychological things going on and it was going crazy. But yeah, can you imagine going all the way down to the bottom of the Marinara Trench?
And that's that gully down there. Oh my word.
That's deep.
I can't imagine, like, for me, I've never been on a cruise because I can't imagine not being in a body of water that goes miles and miles and miles and miles down, and there's no land to, like, God forbid, something happen. And then it's so crazy. Like, people are like, oh, I want to go scuba diving. I'm like, why? Why? Like, just leave it alone. Whatever's there, just leave it alone.
Well, now that Lloyd Bridges is gone, that doesn't have any appeal to me.
It's like that. What was that movie where they went scuba diving and the boat left without them, and the two of them are just sitting out there for
I remember. Yeah, that was a whole movie based upon them being.
Oh man,
it's the worst movie ever, but still.
ever.
Like,
But psychologically, I'm like, okay, not going scuba diving ever again. Or ever. I mean, like, it's like,
see, well, the one thing that put me off about that was the movie Castaway. I don't want to be talking to a volleyball.
Yeah. Walter! I'm sorry,
Wilson.
Wilson.
Sorry, Wilson!
You never seen Castaway? It's a terrible
Tom
movie.
Hanks. It has its moments.
It has its moments.
I never saw it, but I know what they were talking about because there's a lot of like parodies and jokes, and you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't one of his great movies, but it was still.
It was well acted because it was Tom Hanks. Yeah, but a really riveting experience for me was you talk about ghost hunting and all that. But one of the things that really stands out for me, I had the experience twice of seeing a fireball in the sky. And I haven't traveled extensively. I've been, I lived in I lived in Puerto Rico for 4 months. I've been to Canada a couple of times and a lot of the states. But it was 1967. I looked out the bathroom window in my parents' house. I was 13. I looked out, it was dusk, and I saw a meteorite plummeting through the sky. And this was in Situate, Rhode Island. It was so clear. It had this black plume of smoke from it. It was traveling this trajectory at an angle. I was waiting for the terrible explosion, like Tunguska. And it was, what do you got? Yeah, that's the effect it had on us.
I've seen that.
Yeah, and flames, orange and yellow flames were licking.
Yeah.
It was coming, and it was transcendental. For that one moment, I was waiting for the terrific crash, which could have come, and it didn't. It wasn't vaporized. And it was, but I saw this thing with flame. I saw the ball it was, flames shooting out of it. And that was in 1967. I saw it again in 1970. Now, I'm not sure if it was 1972 or 73. I think it was 1972. And I was driving. I had been driving for long, and I was driving down, which I was already speeding. And I was driving along Route 101 in Rhode Island, and I saw the same thing, but this time it was dark, so I could really vividly see the flames. Same size, and it went over the Situate Reservoir. Again, I was waiting for I said, I can't get out of this. Whatever's going to happen, it's going to happen.
Right.
Came over me, went boom, and I didn't hear any noise. Didn't see anything about it in the news, but I saw that so vividly. It's like looking at a ghost. Looking at
spirit. No, that it is really cool. The Perseus meteor shower that in August, when you can really when you can see that, because half the time it's cloudy the peak night all the time, but there's been twice now that I've seen what you're describing. You can actually see the circumference of the whole entire meteor, and then it's like it's got this long tail behind it, and it's fire, and then there's like colors and there's smoke, and you're just, I mean, it's the coolest thing. But again, you're like, is that gonna hit something? Because that was really close.
Well, what about the asteroid that was miles from Earth? That just happened.
Yeah.
Like if the trajectory just changed just a little bit. Are you talking about
the one that came between the Earth and the Moon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
It's gonna be hard to take you seriously if you wear that.
My tribal headband? You can't love my tribal headband, bro.
We love it. We love it.
Americans here.
What tribe is that?
The Gung Ho tribe.
Gung Ho
tribe.
Well, they don't believe in reincarnation. How about that? Yeah. Wow. Yeah, but I know what you're saying there, Taryn. It's it's a transcendental experience because you are filled with wonderment and terror, and the experience lasts for a few seconds.
Yeah, it's only a few seconds, and then that's what makes you like stay up all night, wanting to watch a meteor shower, hoping you're going to see. You see them flying across. You want to see
showers. And you go home and you tell folks about it, your spouse or your parents or whatever, and if you're like, oh yeah, Yeah, a lot of things out there. No, I saw something marvelous that you may see once in a lifetime at that. You know, you have to have experienced it, as you, or hopefully we're describing it colorfully enough that, you know, people get it or something outstanding. You know, and
it's so crazy. I know. And you can't really explain it, like, unless you've seen something like that. Like, it sounds almost, you know, yeah, like it's amazing. I love meteor showers. I just hope I'm never anywhere where one actually hits.
yeah.
That's all.
Sometimes they do hit, and sometimes over Russia there was a tremendous explosion within the last 2 decades, and it was the loudest noise these people had ever heard. They described it as. You don't have any time to prepare. What can you do? You're driving usually, or walking, or looking out your window. Usually driving, you see these things come overhead. And what happened in Tunguska that leveled so much of the Siberian plains and forest, you know.
They didn't fight it for 20 years.
They didn't. I know. And persons were talking about it because it broke up, and people talk about this terrific crash, this terrific explosion, you know. And you know, to live through something like that, that is, to me, as wonderful as seeing any ghost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
See a lot of video footage on those Russian dash cam
yes.
channels.
You see this white thing coming across.
They don't have dash
watch
cams.
it.
Every car has a dash cam.
Yeah.
So, and it's really dark out there, so you can see a lot of videos.
Yeah, for sure.
Where the was that Norway? The oh my God, I can't.
Aurora Borealis?
Oh yes,
Aurora Borealis.
Aurora
Oh,
Borealis.
yeah, that's cool.
Where is that? Norway?
Alaska.
Well, no, both places. Alaska, you see a lot.
Alaska.
Oh, but another thing I saw in Scituate, Rhode Island, I saw the Northern Lights. I saw the Aurora Borealis
Yeah,
in Scituate.
in Scituate.
Again, I would love to see that. That's like one of the things, because I don't want to hang out in Alaska because I'm a baby when it comes to cold weather, but I just want to like see it and then experience it and then go warm again.
I heard it's very beautiful during the summer though.
Yeah.
But it's very dangerous in Alaska. I knew a few people that used to do fishing, the fishing expeditions out there, the crabbing expeditions. Yeah, it's dangerous out there.
Well, it is. It's wilderness.
Very much so.
Everything
Yeah.
from polar bears and Kodiak bears to
the mooses too are even more dangerous.
All that animal, that big fauna, is very dangerous. You know, but it's like ghosts. Sometimes, if you ever are fortunate enough to be able to look it in the eyes, even though they have illusory eyes, to actually look at a specter and have a chance. If you see it for 3 seconds, it's a long time. I had that experience like 3.5 months ago. To look at a specter and realize that you're looking at something otherworldly, something from the past. You're watching it, you're looking at it, and you're memorizing it because you don't have time to get the camera out. I dropped my camera anyway. But you're looking at it, and for those brief moments, you're connecting with something from the past, something that people only speculate about that most people don't believe in, or a lot of people don't. And you're seeing it. I wish I could give Elise that experience. I wish I could do that for her. Oh, I'm trying to. We've come close. She was in the room with James and
yeah, we didn't see it.
They didn't see it. You know, but why say look over there, guys? Because they probably won't. It'll be gone. It'll be gone.
Right.
So you observed it, and
yeah. I did the best I could. I memorized it, and I said, mark the time, 7:05. You know, or what? No, 7:55 p.m. Mark the time. And, you know, I didn't know why I said it, but then I told them.
Yeah, yeah.
And our tour guide was just telling us about, they think there's a woman body because she found phalanges, finger bones, down there.
And you've seen that before she told the story too.
Yes, I did it before.
So it wasn't like a conflict of like suggestion right there. It was like you had this experience in the same spot where they found the finger
as
bone.
we walked downstairs,
Yeah,
he was just kind of milling about, and he said,
right in the exact same spot though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty
That's
great.
cool. That's awesome.
I should read The Impossible World to you.
Oh, here we go.
Time now. Yeah. This is my book, as you see,
plug.
which, yes, it is
Put it up closer. Put it up closer.
I will if you.
There we go.
The green thing is.
Yep, I'm going to try and elevate it right there. I know it's picking up the light.
Yeah.
This is Shadow Realms Daemonologie Handbook. It just as the title indicates, it's, you know, something you can bring into a paranormal investigation and flip through it. And you might find something. It's an easy read, 300 pages.
Available on Amazon.
Available on Amazon.com and some Barnes and Borders bookseller stores, you know,
or Daemonologie.org.
Yeah. Oh, some of the Daemonologie.org. Yes,
buy it from there too.
And that's the regular spelling of demonology.
Yes, the www. Yeah, with a Y at the end.
O-L-O-G-Y.
Oh, look at this. What if it won't leave? How about beware those dolls?
Oh no! Don't get into dolls with me.
Doc, yeah, whole chapter on two-part chapter on dolls, written by my co-author Lana. Dark Explorations, subtitle: I was a teenage Satanist.
Which is true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I do have 1 foot, like you've heard of 1 foot in the grave. I have 1 foot in diabolism, in Satanism or Luciferian. Because it's always been a fascination with mine, because it was such a part of my life for a time. I'm wearing a pendant of Lucifer.
Mm-hmm.
So I combine two impossible to intermesh, impossible to mix belief systems. I don't know if you want to call them approaches to life, Christianity and Luciferian, you know, and I make them work with me. I make them work together. I draw on the best aspects for me, what serves me from both of these, you know, totally contradictory, but life is a big contradiction at times, you know, so I'm always influenced by that. So that's tells my years as a Satanist by any other name, but you know, I was a teenage Satanist, and it was time.
Hey, it's you know, it's like you said, you have 1 foot in the dark.
Yeah.
So it's good to know what the enemy looks at, or what people that do invoke diabolism, because diabolism is a bad thing.
One can observe that if you have any light in the darkness, that automatically defeats the darkness, because it's no longer total dark. One candle flame in a vast plane of darkness, you still got light, but that light will always cast a shadow.
See, like for you, you were Satanist. To me, I was an agnostic. Like I didn't, I despised the idea of.
So you're an active agnostic.
So yeah, so like, but I'm always thankful for those experiences, because it gave me.
Now you are where you are.
Yeah,
and we have a realist here, who says things as they are, as what can be observed.
Yeah, to her, the cup is half full, but also half empty.
Ah, good thing.
I like that. Yeah. Or half empty. It's half full and half empty at the same time, because both they seem contradictory, but both are true.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Well, you can't have good without bad, or we wouldn't know what the other was. You know what I mean? If they didn't both exist. So.
Yeah, the yin yang principle. And then they blur and blend. Sometimes you get some gray, and then it goes back to black and white. You know, you cross over from one to the other. You've got to go through the gray plane, the gray tundra first to cross that divide.
Like through the shadows, you know, through the shadow. I can't. What's the whole scriptural line? To the shadows of the valley. Death.
As I walk through the valley of the shadows of death.
Third Psalm. Yeah, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I shall fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff shall comfort me. They talk about transferring over that.
Yeah. See, man, I wish I had a good memory like that. Yeah. For sure.
Surely goodness and mercy shall be with me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
I do remember the days of our lives, because I loved Days of Our Lives.
Oh my God.
The hourglass.
Stands through the hourglass. So are the days of our lives. Yes, Stefano. The shadow of your smile. When you are.
Oh boy. You can tell we're hitting the 2-hour mark.
Were we supposed to be 1 hour? I'm so sorry.
Usually we were 1 hour, but
but now it's me.
Well,
it's just me.
Host, I must say, yeah. But I like it being you. It works. We have a camaraderie.
I like it too, Taryn.
There's topics that we traversed.
Oh my gosh. Go back. I mean, we've
probably Death by Chocolate. You know.
So many.
Yeah.
Death by Chocolate.
Many.
We didn't hit lycanthropy. We didn't hit werewolves.
Lycanthropy.
We'll do that next time.
Oh, thank you.
And they still have more candies left.
Hey, we got more than that too, but oh gosh.
We saved room for dessert, didn't we?
I definitely probably.
I brought a dessert. You
Oh
asked
my
me to bring
God.
dessert, crumb cake.
And dish cookies, but
Ah,
lycanthropy and vampirism. I have to hit upon those topics sometime.
well, here these are touched upon in
Oh,
Shadow Realms Demonology Handbook. There is dissertation about werewolves, about lycanthropy, shapeshifters, and about vampires.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have a comprehensive index. Not all of these books on paranormal have indexes, but
Have you guys watched Unexplained yet?
No.
what's one unexplained?
Yeah, the show with William Shatner.
Yeah.
I saw one episode and I liked it.
I love
I
William
can't-
She likes William Shatner.
I can't stand him. Sorry.
Well, I'll tell you this: he's redeemed.
My
he's-
name is William Shatner.
Yeah, but he's not just a buffoon or self-lampooning in this. He's
Very
a
serious.
good host in that.
Yeah.
He does
Captain Kirk was one of my
without
first
being
crushes.
pretentious. My mother's too. My mother, she said, "I love him. He's just so handsome."
I was a Captain Picard guy. I'm sorry. I
And
love.
also, did you watch Six Souls?
No,
Not yet. No,
No.
I want you to see it and then tell me what you think.
I will. We will. We promise. We were actually talking about getting together for New Year's Eve, having a little New Year's Eve thingamajiggy at my house, and
you've already got plans, Miss
So-
Gettysburg.
so we will watch Six Souls, and if we don't, you have to come to Rhode Island and beat us up.
Which you would.
I'll drive around on my way home from Gettysburg.
All right, I like that.
Replete with illustrations, sigils, and photographs. No?
Is that the inverted pentagram?
Yes, it is. That's the sigil of Baphomet, also known as the Mendes goat.
Hmm.
Loaded with symbolism. It is thought that the Knights Templars devised this. Of the temple. Yeah. The Seal of Solomon, sixth Seal of Solomon. Yes, these are dangerous sigils to have around your home. Safe in the book. A demonic face.
It's in the book.
The actual photograph of a demon.
Wow.
We showed last time we were on. Yep.
Carl enveloped by a shadow presence. You know, while I was using dowsing rods, the shadow was cast over me.
Oh, somebody's asking, where can I buy the book?
Oh, well, seriously. You can find it through our website, daemonologie.org. It's a good contact point. Contact me. Amazon.com. Shadow Realms Demonology Handbook. 300 pages. And you just go to Amazon, look that up. Contact us directly if you have any trouble locating it. Correspond with me. I can send you a copy. Not gratis, but I can send you an autographed copy. I autographed James here, you know.
That is my copy, actually. Yes,
This is James's copy
it
there.
is.
And Elise has read almost all of it.
Did he sign the same thing in yours as mine?
Probably.
I hope he didn't say, "Hey, brother."
My
And
brother.
yours?
No, mine doesn't say.
Can you
brother.
say "my brother"? Oh my God! Could you imagine, please?
Hey, sister.
Hey, sister.
Hey, sis.
Hey,
How you doing?
sister.
I would love to have him get a copy. So if you have any trouble locating it, navigating through Amazon, just
Oh.
Oh my
Talk
God!
about like a throw right
The shapeshifter.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you turning into a dog back there?
Oh, this is just fascinating. From when do they come? Chapter.
He's still playing this book, guys. I'm sorry.
Chapter that was 8.
It's a great book.
Remote Origins.
Well,
Part 2.
once again, we had a very awesome show. And Elise, thank you so much for joining us. I finally get to meet you in the flesh. And thank you so much for all the times that you've joined in and, provided the link. Right now, she's probably like, oh my gosh, the link, I got to put the link was in it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Every time we would bring it up, she's always like, boom, boom. And I think that's awesome. So thank you.
I'll send you an email and correspond with you too. I've said that before. Then the month goes by, like hello again.
Yeah.
Oh,
Keeps it fresh.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah. Well, and we promised we were going to do a once a month. I can't say that. Well, once a monther, So
So what? While we're here right now, let's book our January show.
I mean,
let's do it.
fun.
Check
Yeah.
your calendar.
I mean, it's not like we're going to run out of things to say. You can tell.
We never do.
We're not just going to be like, well, we said it all, did we? I don't think we got any. We're dry. We got nothing.
See, we could, instead of the 12 weeks, 12 days of Christmas, we could do the 12 months of the Paranormal Brew. On the first month of Paranormal Brew, Daemonologie had to say.
So true.
It's going someplace, right? Yeah.
But
month of Paranormal Brew, this is what we had to say.
yeah, keep it. Next show. I want the lyrics.
Okay, I'll write them just for you.
Oh, you heard my songs, my ballads. So we got to devote
We'll
a show to
save
that.
those for next month.
Yes, next month.
And at least you're always welcome to come on with them anytime.
Very much.
We'd love to have her.
lunch.
How about the 27th?
Okay.
Sure.
Yes,
So January 27th is our next brew date.
I'll put it right in the calendar. See, I do that on here.
Yes.
So thank you so much, guys. You guys are awesome and wonderful, and I always love listening to you guys, and I
being with you, yes.
think very highly of you, and appreciate all your knowledge and education and humor. I love spending these hours with you.
Next time, if I may volunteer, although the poem is set in bleak December, I can recite The Raven for you, Edgar Allan Poe's. If you want a little Poe theme for like 8 minutes or so. But Elise, actually, I give an annual, I didn't do it this year, I give an annual tribute to Edgar Allan Poe, public tribute. And for the last one, Elise recited The Raven, because as far as I know, it's never been performed publicly by a woman. It's always taken that the narrator is a male. And Elise, actually, she dressed in Gothic garb and it looked beautiful. She does now, and she recited The Raven, effectively so. Oh, and while it was outdone in St. John's Cemetery, where Edgar Allan Poe proposed to Sarah Helen Whitman in Providence, proposed marriage to her in St. John's Churchyard, and that was the setting for our reading.
Wow.
Had other works by Edgar Allan Poe. And while she took to memorize it so she'd be comfortable with it, and while she's reciting The Raven, this, not a crow, but this blackbird comes overhead. And she's like,
Fantastic.
Then the thought the air grew denser. She's like, yeah. Just like a laugh went through the audience. You can't plan that. It was just perfect.
That's awesome.
A raven-sized blackbird went right overhead. Then.
That was great.
Yeah, that's terrific. One of those, stellar moments.
So so January 27th, and then hopefully we have some. Well, no, not hopefully. We always have great conversations, so we'll have stuff to talk about. So, Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you
I
very much.
love you guys.
Love you too.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
I'll see you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
And happy New Year.
Yeah.